you speak this kind of fear and nonsense that somehow you all have to look the same in order to be a family. You miss out on opportunities to speak this biblical beauty to the rest of the world. I mean, I'm a firm believer, Christ before color.
As you were growing up, and especially as you were transitioning in your teenage to young adult years, like, how did your parents help you navigate that so that you were staying strong in your connection with them as a family and not drifting off into Black liberation theology or that kind of ideology?
Right. I was loved like crazy by my parents. And that, first and foremost, is the most important foundation. Because without that, I wouldn't be the person that I am, with an identity that is firmly rooted in Christ. Because if your identity is not rooted in Christ, it will be uprooted by everything else. And so, as someone who is white and Black, mixed genetically, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Live in perpetual confusion and have to say I'm this or I'm this? No, I'm actually all of this, but this beautiful melanin, I mean, it doesn't dictate who I am, doesn't tell anybody what my experiences are. And so when I see this being embraced, it to me is so devastating, because I look at our family, for example. Our family, because of the way they look, my parents never pretended, like, they didn't say, well, I don't see your color. Yes, they saw our color and they loved our color. We celebrated the fact that we looked different and we had different experiences. But what was so beautiful with our family that obviously stood out in our predominantly white community was that we started influencing a community that initially was resistant to my parents transracially adopting these children. Well, they don't look like you. How are you going to raise a child who doesn't look like you? How are you going to raise a child who's disabled? How are you going to raise a child who's Black? And my parents didn't listen to the naysayers. Thank God they actually followed the calling on their heart. And because of that, I will tell you, to this day, we continue through social media. I get messages all the time from people, in the community that I grew up in. They were so moved and inspired, some inspired to adopt, some who faced some of their some of their racist perspectives on things. And it changed because of the influence of our family. And if you take that away, you speak this kind of fear and nonsense that somehow you all have to look the same in order to be a family. You miss out on opportunities to speak this biblical beauty to the rest of the world. I mean, I'm a firm believer, Christ before color. I mean, I can rattle off verse after verse, like Galatians 3:28, or John 13:34, Colossians 3:13, which is one of my favorite verses, talks about how about forgiving others and making allowance for other people's faults. If we don't have Christ before color, we get this broken worldview that forces us to look through the broken lens of race, the broken lens of class, the broken lens of fill in the blank. You see, I won't do that. And as someone who is black and white, my heart is to reconcile. I will always look through the breakthrough filter of Christ, because it changes the way you see the world. It changes the way that you see individuals, and it changes your heart for the situations and compels your heart to respond so differently, because you see people as image bearers of God, regardless of what they look like and what situations they've come from and what situations they're in.